So today we are making a Caesar salad, made very popular in the United States of America, but actually Caesar salad originated in Mexico. And you will actually find this on a lot of menus, especially in tourist places like right here in Naxos, Greece, that attract a lot of American tourists. Now a Caesar salad contains a lettuce base, so traditionally like a cos lettuce, with a creamy mayo and parmesan dressing, croutons, and you will find on most menus they will also add chicken, which is what we're going to be doing today, but we're going to be making it completely vegan, plant-based, but still absolutely delicious. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is start making our croutons. Now, I just went to my local bakery and bought a baguette. Of course, you could use your favorite bread, but I'm going to use my baguette today. And I'm probably going to just cut up about half of this baguette. And I much prefer to make my own croutons as opposed to buying those ones that you just get in the pack. These ones are so much more delicious. So let's just chop up our baguette. It's probably about a 1/2 inch cube that we are looking for. So now, once you've got all your bread chopped up into their cubes, we're just going to transfer that into a nice big bowl. Now, I love to add some herbs to my croutons, so I'm going to be adding some rosemary from my garden, and you can add as much or as little as you want. Okay, now we've got our herbs all chopped up and our bread. I'm just going to toss it with a little bit of olive oil. So we need enough to coat our bread. Get it nice and crispy in the oven. And now that we have olive oil all over our bread, I'm going to put on our herbs. And you can also add some sea salt. I'm using actually some flaky sea salt just to get a nice crunch. And it's onto a nice big tray. You could do like a whole big batch of this and just keep it in a jar for when you're ready to use. But I'm just doing it for 4 people today. So I'm just going to pop this into my oven now. I've got it set to 140 degrees Celsius with a fan, so that's on in my convection oven. And we're going to cook this until it's nice and crispy and golden. Now, while our croutons are crisping up, we can start preparing our Caesar dressing. Now, the base of our Caesar dressing is a mayonnaise. Of course, we're using a plant-based mayonnaise today. You can use a commercial variety, or you can use one of the videos and recipes in your course dashboard. Today, I'm doing a little bit of a lighter version, so I'm using our oil-free vegan mayonnaise, which is made from the cashews. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to my bowl. And for our other liquids, we have a little bit of lemon juice. I've got some red wine vinegar, some extra virgin olive oil. So let's give those things a bit of a whisk. Now for our flavorings, we have some garlic powder and some Dijon mustard. There's a little bit of Dijon mustard in the mayonnaise, but we're just going to add a little bit more for flavor. Now, it wouldn't be a Caesar salad without Parmesan cheese, and this is a hard gradable Parmesan cheese that I made earlier. You could use a commercial variety as well, but I really love how this one grates and the flavor. So I'm going to add that too. Now you can season your dressing. I like to use some freshly cracked black pepper. Now let's give that a taste before we add our salt. I think it still needs a little salt, so I'm just going to add to taste. Now you can just transfer your dressing into a container, and this will last in the fridge for about 5 days, I would say. Let's pop this in the fridge now for all those flavors to infuse. Our salad leaf base for this Caesar salad is, of course, the cos lettuce. And with any kind of lettuce, it is so important that you wash it really, really well. I just filled up my sink with water and made sure we got all of that dirt out. I do find, especially, I don't know, but here in Naxos, because they do grow a lot of things here, they tend to be super dirty. So I've made sure that it's washed really well. And we want to make sure that we can take off as much of the water as possible, or if you have a salad spinner, you could use one of those too. So I've just got myself here a nice big container. I'm gonna chop all my leaves up and pop it in there so we can chill it in the fridge so it's nice and crisp for our salad. And I'm just making sure that these leaves are nice and dry before we cut them. And I just like to line them up, and we're gonna cut them into about 1.5 inch pieces. I think our croutons are ready. So our croutons have just come out of the oven. They're super crispy. Just gonna set those aside and continue on with our lettuce. Now that we've got all our lettuce, I'm gonna pop that into the fridge until we're ready to assemble. So now for our crispy chicken component, we are going to get cracking onto that. Now I'm gonna show you 2 different ways of how to make your fried chicken. We are going to do some which are deep fried, but we're also going to do a baked variety for something a little bit lighter, a little bit healthier. And the ingredient that we're using to make our chicken today are these gorgeous oyster mushrooms. They're super juicy, and we're going to season them with our chicken seasoning that we made before. It's going to give them that beautiful chicken flavor and great texture. So in front of me, I have 3 bowls. We start off with our cornstarch, and then we're going to go in with a egg batter sort of replacement, and then into our breadcrumbs. So for our egg replacement, all it is some flour. We have some of that chicken seasoning that we made and a bit of baking powder. Now the baking powder is just going to make this a lot lighter. Just going to whisk those ingredients together, and then just add our cold water. You can also make this gluten-free. You can use some gluten-free flour, or in the recipe it says you can use rice flour as well. And of course, just go ahead and use gluten-free breadcrumbs. Now I'm going to start off with doing the baked variety, or the one that's going to go into our air fryer. In my case, I'm using my convection oven because it does act like an air fryer. I can put the settings on, but you could, at home, if you have an air fryer, you can go ahead and use that. So I'm going to use half of these mushrooms to do that. So let's go through making one. I'm just going to toss it in our cornstarch. Just get it nice and coated. And I always like to keep one hand for dry and one hand for wet. And then into our egg replacement, and then into the breadcrumbs. I'm going to switch hands to my dry hand. Get it nicely coated, and then we're just going to shake off that excess. So now you're ready. You can either deep fry them, or as I mentioned before, I'm going to air fry these. And I've just got a tray. I put some baking paper, and if you have an air mat, you could use that, or if you're just doing it in your air fryer, you can just do a little bit of baking paper, or all those little cases that you can put in. I'm just going to pop a little bit of oil spray, and then put our little chicken on there and continue on with the rest. Man can't have the deep fried chicken, so he's going to have the one that's in the oven. Okay, so I'm just going to spray it with a little bit of oil. You can use any kind of oil. This is just a vegetable oil mix. It's still considered really less oil than if it's deep fried. And because I'm giving this to Manuel, he needs something that's not deep fried after his surgery. So we're doing something a little bit healthier for our patient. I'm gonna pop this into the oven now. I have it preheated at 200 degrees Celsius. So that's for your air fryer. In my case, I'm using my fancy oven. But yeah, we're gonna get this in until it's nice and golden. So we first need to start off with just the same process again. So we're going to pop our mushroom into our cornstarch. Tap off that excess. into our egg replacement, our egg kind of batter. And then into our breadcrumbs. I do have a saucepan here. I'm going to be frying. I'm just doing a small amount, so I've just popped it in my saucepan, and we want to heat this up to about 180 degrees Celsius. Do a test one. I'm just going to put one of the small ones in. Oh, it's frying nicely, so that looks good. Now we're just going to keep an eye on that temperature. So I just pulled my air fried chicken out. It does look nice and brown and crispy. I'm just going to leave it in the oven to keep it nice and warm while we're still frying the other lot. And I'd say we're frying these for about 5 minutes or so. Okay, so now it is time to assemble. I'm going to do 2 portions. This recipe does make 4, but we're just going to assemble half of it so we can have the other half another time. So I'm just going to go ahead with half of my lettuce that we cut earlier, about that much. And I'm going to do about half of our dressing. Oh, it's so nice and creamy. And I'm gonna add some of the, probably like a quarter of my croutons. And we have our vegan Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to shave some in just a little bit because we're gonna do some on the top too. Now at this stage, go in and just try for seasoning. You might need a little bit of salt and pepper. Just a little pinch of salt. That dressing is so nice and creamy. Okay, that's looking gorgeous. Now we're going to take about half of each of our chicken, and I like to cut some slices into it. So it's like bite size. And if you would like, you can add a little bit of extra chicken seasoning onto your chicken. Totally up to you. I still hear a nice crunch on that other one, which we did not deep fry. Yeah, I'm happy with that amount. And then we can garnish with our croutons, a few extra croutons, and of course our Parmesan cheese. Wow, let's take a look at that. Oh my goodness, that cheese looks so authentic. And we've got a great balance of that crunch and creaminess from the dressing. I can't wait to dig into this. Let's give it a try. Got to find my fork. Let's give this a go. I'm gonna go for the bit more indulgent one. Wow. It's such a bold flavor, all of those different textures. I think I need to go on for a little bit more. Yum. I know your friends and family and customers are going to love this Caesar salad dish, and you won't even miss the chicken. I hope you give it a try. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.